Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook. It is I, your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn. And with us, as always, but not quite yet, is our co host, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin is running just a few minutes behind, so we're going to jump right in this evening with our very special guest. Very excited to have him on. He's somewhat of the proto first guest I ever had on the show, somewhat because he was the first person I ever interviewed for my radio station, like about 4 or 5 years ago at this point. But you might know him from his work in Ceremony, X Youth, Cold Cave, and that's right, he's even done some stuff with Taylor Dane and the Coward of the West Bay, Tony Molina. We have the one and only Anthony joining us this evening. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
How are
What an
you?
introduction.
I know. How are you doing this evening?
I'm well, thank you.
Are you astral projecting from Los Angeles or?
I am.
Nice.
I am a Los Angeles Echo Park resident.
Yeah. Just
of-
like our co-host with the Mo-host, Caitlin, if she was here, but actually now she resides somewhere, a hidden
Where do you think
locale in Mexico.
Caitlin is?
Well, she does actually now live in Mexico. She just moved there a little bit ago, and there's a little bit of a time difference, and we have not quite calibrated how long it takes her to get places. So
Gotcha.
we're
The
figuring these
calibration
things
has
out.
not yet been fine-tuned.
That's right.
I understand.
I was as I was kind of like writing that list up earlier today about like your different credits. I was amused because I was thinking about, I don't know, you played just like a few shows with Tony Molina, right? Like randomly a few years ago, and I believe, if memory serves correct, I actually saw one of them at the Elbow Room in 2015, I want to say, with Drab Majesty opening, which is like such a crazy lineup. And I believe like it was you, the mythical Shelby Cobras playing bass, I want to say. And then, of course, Tony, and I forget who might have been drumming that show. But to this day, I still talk about how incredible that show was because Drab Majesty, who I love, most of my listeners do, of course, and it was the first time I'd ever heard of him, the first time I ever saw him, and he came out. I just see like this spinning bust. I see this guy. This is back when it's just him, just backing tracks. That's it. I see him come out like, decked out in the robe, the makeup, and I've never had like such a quick, like, within 5 seconds I was in love. The second like the backing track started, it was like you knew you were in good hands kind of situation, which I loved.
Yeah. That was my first introduction to Drab Majesty as well. And I don't know if you've ever been, the backstage at the Elbow Room is literally a closet. Like there's no way you could fit,
right?
Like you can't fit a drum set in it. It's very, very intimate.
Right.
So I literally brushed elbows with Andrew that evening for the first time, and I had a similar reaction to you. I was blown away by their performance, and actually my wife met them that night as well, and I believe it was the next day they got tattooed by my wife.
Nice.
At her then position at Blackheart Tattoo in San Francisco.
Yes.
Shout out. Yeah, that was, I remember 2 shows with, I believe I played with Tony twice at the Elbow Room. One of them was amazing and one of them was bad. So I think you caught the good one.
Hey, if it was bad,
you
I
would have
didn't
known.
catch it. Oh, what?
You
Okay,
known.
then no.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was that one. Then I've seen him like a handful of times. I mean, he's one of those guys that's like blink and you miss him kind of situation. I just discovered because of Zed's, shout out to Zed, his podcast, that Tony had even like released some material under a different name in the past year. It's like one of those things where just because that's just the kind of person he is.
I'm just finding that out this very moment.
Oh, yeah. And gosh, I'm blanking on what the project is called, so I apologize. But just more incredible power pop type stuff, as ones do. But enough about Tony. We got you on the show to talk about you, sir. How have you been doing? We have, of course, you on this month because you do have your now infamous Homesick Festival that's going to be returning once again to both Pomona and Berkeley.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
year is
we
this?
this is year well, this is the fourth installment.
Fourth installment,
Um
right?
we obviously took 2021 off.
Yes.
We did it's in January every year, so we there was a 2020 installment, probably one of the last events to have happened that year. Yeah, this is the fourth installment. Super excited. You know, this year is interesting because the first few years, it the the event didn't have the infamy as you just so kindly stated, and now with it being the fourth installment, I'm starting to like it's starting to feel like it's an event that people are going to because it's homesick,
Right.
you know
Oh, absolutely.
like a like a proper festival, even though this is we sort of created this as sort of the kind of anti-festival. So it's really cool to see that after so many years, it's starting to like pick up steam apart from and like gain an interest from people apart from the bands that are playing.
Yeah.
It kind of has its own. It's starting to have like its own sort of feeling and identity apart from just being, you know, um, a show that I put on or like a ceremony, quote unquote fest.
Right.
Which is great because the idea behind it was, you know, I saw that larger festivals are really diverse,
Mm.
but the more, you know, for lack of a better term, mid level or, like 1,000 to 2,000 capacity larger events were still very genre specific.
Right. Yeah.
And it just didn't really make sense to me, it's not everybody seems to be into everything and everybody seems to be a lot more open minded um, when it comes to underground music
Right.
now. When I started going to shows, like the punk scene was very tangibly over here. Hardcore
Mm-hmm.
shows were here. The people who went to the spooky clubs were over here, and they
Yeah.
didn't really mesh. Metal shows were over here,
Even like hardcore
and
was like subdivided. It was like this, especially in the early 2000s. It was like it's the tough guy night, it's the youth crew night. It was like a lot
totally,
of that.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And then I started seeing Trad Majesty and Cold Cave and Power Trip and
Yeah.
Ceremony shirts kind of at every show. Well, I don't see Ceremony shirts at every show. That's not what I meant.
Hey, I do. For the listener at home, I will attest that they're out there.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I just uh, and honestly, I got to give it up um, to rest in power, dear friend Riley Gale.
Yeah.
My I When I had this idea for this event in 2017, January 2018 was the first installment. I said to myself, okay, I texted Riley and I'm like, if he says yes, if he's into it, then I'll do this.
Oh, no kidding.
If he's lukewarm, because we needed another, you know, the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma, that's our hometown. We hadn't played there in ages. I knew that if we played there, it would have been a good show, but to do it how I envisioned, I didn't just want it to be a ceremony show. I wanted it to be a diverse event that
Right.
showcased all genres within the underground community, independent community, whatever you want to call it. Um, and we needed more bands on on sort of on a certain level, and um, I told myself if Riley's interested, then we're gonna move forward with this. If they're busy or if they can't do it this year, because it wasn't this thing. I didn't have any backer financially. I didn't. There was
Right.
no. I didn't have to do this, right?
Right.
So, um, Riley, I have to forever give Riley the credit for the existence of this event.
Oh, that was very poor. Texas lost two great ones last year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe gosh, time does not exist anymore. But
Time does not exist. Those
it,
those those demarcations that we used to have prior to March of 2020 were very important, and we
yeah,
lost those.
100%. As I kind of said at the top, and by the way, for those of you who are listening and watching at home, we're about to have our co-host Caitlin be kind of zooming in here in just a second, but I think their voice is already there. But as I was saying at the top, yeah, you were actually so before I'd always had the idea for wanting to do Goth Yearbook for years now, but before I actually had this show at the station, I still continue to do, like, you know, contribute to whenever I can. KRJF. I saw that the homesick was happening, and I was like, I quickly worked hard to. I reached out to you, Christina from Gouge Away. I forget who else. I think Tamarin, like a couple other people, but you were the first person. I literally got in my truck at my job, went into the parking lot, and like hid in the back seat to interview you for my phone. And I was like so nervous that any human being walking by would hear me existing at all. I was just like, I wanted to like curl up and die both before and afterwards because I was just. But you were incredible. You were very gracious to give your time for the
Oh
interview. But after
no,
that,
come on,
it's all been downhill from here. Hello
that's
to
true.
Caitlin. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm still trying to figure out what time zone I live in. So my apologies.
It's all good. So am I, and I've only lived in this time zone since 1994. So
Yeah, I this hasn't been my first failure to know what day or time it was this week. I actually earlier this week or actually like last week I had a hair appointment, and I don't think I even told you the finish of this story, Eric, but it was only an hour away. I didn't realize it was a different time zone though, and I was early.
You didn't tell me
And I
that.
was like I told you that part, but then I also went home and got an email from the same guy the next day. Oh, he left. I was waiting for like over an hour for my hair appointment. He was with someone else. And I was like, God, this guy's so unprofessional. And then he did a great job, whatever. But then the next day, he sent me an email and he was like, and my name on my email and the name I booked under were not the same. And he was like, hey, are you going to be here for your appointment? And I was like, I went on the wrong day.
Oh no.
oh. So am I to understand you were an hour early and on the wrong day?
Yes.
A day late. Wow. 25
What
hours.
for work?
So I just think anyone listening should be impressed that I'm here at all tonight.
Yeah. I am.
And as you
We are.
said right before you went on, or like 20 minutes ago, can you just accept responsibility for this, even though it's my fault? I get it. Sometimes life's like that.
Comfortable if things are Eric's fault. Like I messaged him when I realized that I was going to be late, and I was like, Eric, God, we always start at 11. And he was like, actually, that's not true. Hasn't been, but whatever.
It's all
So
good.
I apologize. I am here
Accepted.
and I'm here to ruin this interview.
That's all we can ask for.
Derail it with my own personal
Promise?
issues. Yeah. I do it every week. So yeah, I'm good to go.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
In fact, we got some voicemails. Should we just jump right into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Hi, Anthony. Is there any songs that you've been wanting to record a cover of?
That is a great question. I would love to do. I don't know about recording. I would love to do a Neil Young set
Oh,
one day.
fuck yeah.
Just me and acoustic guitar. Something I've been sort of toying with on how to do that, where to do that. I would love to cover to answer that question. I've been wanting to cover a song called Patterns by Devo. It's on Oh No, It's Devo. It's an album track. It's but it's so melodic and not, I mean, they're one of the greatest bands of all time, but it's not your traditional Devo super angular sort of thing. And I have always had a plan to sort of like do a cover of that and release it on like Mark's or Jerry's birthday or something, or some sort of anniversary. Yeah. And like,
nice.
I just never could really like lock down a date to do that. But Patterns by Devo is one that I've always wanted to record a cover of.
Just out of curiosity, what Neil Young songs would you potentially throw on that live set?
I mean, there are. That's one of the things, right?
Yeah, it's such a deep catalog.
You could throw a dart at any song from 1969 to 1979. I would love to do Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to do Alabama, especially I've never heard that song be done not full band. So that'd be really fun. Hank to Hendrix, I would love to do.
That's one of my all-time favorites. I love Harvest Moon, the album.
Oh yeah, great. I mean, unparalleled. I would love to do A Man Needs a Maid.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a dramatic one.
Yeah, it's, I like the drama.
You could do like what Mamma Mia did to ABBA. You could do like a whole Neil Young musical. Well, it was a stage musical first.
Yes.
It's so funny because he's such a
now we're talking.
older man, so it's just like the musical is just him like sitting there, just like, like I hate this.
One man show, the budget's low.
Yeah.
I used to go, speaking of like on the level of homesick, like things that I would get very amped up about was I went nearly every year as a tradition that my mom and I did before they stopped doing it. I went every year to his bridge school benefit that he did at the Shoreline.
Yeah, I went a few times. Yeah.
And man, even like sitting through some sets that were rough as fuck, to say the least, to sit through, like I was smiling ear to ear because like I was just so happy to be there and like just so happy to be like taking in, like, especially like he always ends the show, of course, but he also does like a few songs in the beginning, and I'll still it might be like one of his like bigger songs, often covered songs, but he did Sugar Mountain one year as like an opener, just classic him and just his harmonica, and I melted like on the spot. It was just like sing it live.
I would love Sugar Mountain would love to. I mean we could talk about this whole the rest of the interview could be about Neil Young, but I would love to do a set where it was mostly acoustic, and then every song sort of maybe added an instrument, and maybe the set could start with My My Hey Hey, the acoustic version, and end with Hey Hey My My, the full band version.
Right.
That'd be awesome. A lot of things you could do with that. Oh, I would love to do songs off Trans too.
Yeah, hell yeah, I like it. I know it's like one of his weirder efforts. Or
that record is so good, and it gets sort of whether or not good or bad, it just gets looked at as like the weird Neil Young album or like the electronic Neil Young album, but those songs are fucking unbelievably good.
Absolutely.
And the fact that he just was able to just step into a genre and own it the way he did on that record is just like is nothing short of inspiring, my friends.
I agree. And kind of to tie it back to Devo, because he was obviously a big fan of Devo. He worked with them, and I have to imagine that the album was a little bit of like there was inspiration that came, I imagine, from his Devo love that was happening around then. What about you, Caitlin? Do you have a song that you have yet to cover that you would love to one day kind of record?
It's funny because I don't think I've ever covered a song that I don't know. So any of them, I guess. The one that I have been thinking lately, if I were to cover, I do really love the Bruce Springsteen "I'm on Fire."
Classic.
It was like stuck in my head right before I left LA for weeks, and if I had any patience or time to devote to that, I probably would have done that one.
It's a good one. I like it.
But if I could base any musician's catalog, if I could overlay that into a Broadway musical, which is the question I'm going to pretend that you asked, it would be Rihanna, and it would be 1920s Chicago.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I like it.
I have a feeling that you didn't just come up with that.
Oh no, I
something
fantasize
tells me
all the time.
you've been sitting on that idea.
Yeah, TM.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to shout out, man. I know I've brought up on the show before, but John C. Reilly in the movie doing Mr. Cellophane.
That's Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
No,
what
I don't. No, I don't mean the musical Chicago. I mean, like, actually,
I thought
no,
you said, like, the
1920s
style of-
Chicago.
Oh, you mean the
No.
actual place.
I mean, like, I'm actually more referring to like the 1900s because it has to be around the World Exposition of 1905.
Is there like a murder mystery going on around this time too?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to broadcast this idea.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
she's not gonna. But you said TM, so don't worry.
Yeah,
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 it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
It's legally. Eric, if you could turn any musician's catalog into a Broadway musical / movie drama or comedy, I guess, who would you choose?
Well, what immediately came to my mind, and Caitlin, you'll get a kick out of this. I forgot to text this to you earlier, but I still have like some truck issues. I've still been taking Uber, and I've like started like writing about almost each experience because it's just like each one is so different and varied that I can't help but like want to catalog it for one day. And yesterday evening, I got in, and the lady who was driving was listening to local station 95.5 Latino, which is like a bunch of basically Spanish pop songs. I know it because they have a really cool Throwback Thursday set that they do in the afternoon. Shout out to DJ Eric M. But I got in the car. She was listening to it. I was vibing. I was into it. And I swear to God, she looked at me in the rearview mirror, and then I saw her start to mess with the dial, and then she stopped it on that Goo Goo Doll song, the one from City of Angels, Iris or whatever.
You mean Iris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that instead of saying like the name of their biggest hit.
Buffalo HC.
I can't. Yeah, you know that City of Angels song. I just love that she saw me and she's like, "This is what this guy's all about." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sad that that's like what I guess summon up for people." No, whatever.
Wait, so is your answer the Goo Goo Dolls?
No, because
Okay.
so the station was playing.
It's not the Goo Goo Dolls.
Right.
I'm
The station was playing.
failing to see the point of this story yet. Then.
And Boston's Peace of Mind started playing, and
Okay.
like midway through the song, I realized I was like vibing in the backseat so hard because that's just like as far as like a dad hanging out in the parking garage or whatever type album. That Boston self-titled album, I love it. So yeah, I'd love to make like some weird fucking musical out of it.
Yeah, like a dad. Like dad's just sitting around talking about the past.
Yeah. I think that's never been done before. I promise. Let's get into another one right now.
Hi, I was curious what TV shows you watch when you're sick and need comfort TV.
Comfort TV. Well, I've been a religious Seinfeld viewer since a youth, so I guess that's sort of like my show where I could sort of quote like every episode sort of thing. It's always good to me. But probably the Twilight Zone.
Oh, that's also great.
Yeah,
so
for dramatic, because most dramatic shows, have most like the good ones have an ongoing arc, and it's hard to just throw on a few. You drop into The Sopranos or The Wire,
right.
Where the Twilight Zone is probably my favorite. Definitely one of my favorite dramatic television shows, but it really is one of the only ones that could kind of be placed in that sort of comfort. I don't need to pay too much attention category because it's not a linear story, and each episode is its own sort of kind of play, you know?
Yeah, vignette of sort.
Yeah. So I would the Twilight Zone, the first the Rod Sterling version,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
No heat, no heat to the remakes, you know, but I just want to be as clear as possible. I watched the Jordan Peele one, and I thought they did as good as they could do, you know, because what's so great, not that the world needs me to mansplain why the Twilight Zone is good, but what's great about the Twilight Zone is how simple it is, and how, you know, so many of those episodes, there's only like 3 scenes and a few actors, and it could be really hypnotic. And obviously the way, you know, the way we consume entertainment now is a lot different. So it kind of felt a little Black Mirror, but I know it kind of like had to.
Yeah.
But I feel like they did as good as they could do.
Yeah,
you know.
I feel like so much of Twilight Zone is not a period piece, but to remake it, it would have to be a period piece, because so much of it was dependent on the era that it came out of. And
agreed.
Yeah, I haven't seen actually the remake, but when I was just thinking about how they would make that like current, I just thought of Black Mirror, and I was like, some things don't need to be remade, you know?
Totally.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, what's so fun about the Twilight Zone is, you know, we hadn't landed anybody on the moon yet, and so many of those episodes are about space and what they thought space travel would be like without ever doing that yet is fascinating as a, you know, hindsight viewer, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and like women are slaves, and it's cool, you know, it's not like a weird thing.
It does. It reminds me of like reading some of the.
No, that's bad, Caitlin. That's a bad thing.
Watching those does remind me of like reading Ray Bradbury's short stories from back in the day, like the Martian Chronicles or the Illustrated Man, because exactly the same thing. Like a lot of these stories he wrote before we even got to the moon, and so much of what he wrote is so eerily poignant for like 2022 as far as like what home electronics and stuff are like.
So I read the Martian Chronicles for the first time over quarantine. I read the Illustrated Man and Fahrenheit, but my wife is a Ray Bradbury super fan.
Nice.
She lives for it. And I guess there was Rod and Ray Bradbury beef.
No kidding. Whoa.
Yeah, because I guess the word is that he stole many of his concepts for Twilight Zone episodes. But whether or not that's true, which I'm sure it is, he was able to make them into good TV, where if you watch, there is a Ray Bradbury sort of Twilight Zone-esque, you know, like vignette show. I think it might, like, Heather, if Heather wasn't out getting dinner right now, I could just call in the other room and ask her. But there is a show. There was a show depicting his stories, and it didn't really work,
right?
Because they just weren't written the same way that Twilight Zone was made for television.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the Martian Chronicles were made to be short stories, so there was a little bit of a disconnect. But Twilight Zone rocks. Hot take.
I one last note I'll make about Twilight Zone too, because I just did another rewatch of that original series, and for the time it's so great because like they'll use a lot of that same, like, you know, universal backlot, gazebos, things like that you'd see like on older shows that were around back then that I can't now pull any names of, but like the Dick Van Dyke Show and stuff like that. And just the lighting, even because like they would do a lot of it at nighttime. So like that same gazebo that looks so whatever, you know, a little hokey if you're watching now. Like even now and today, there's an eerie look to it because like they will.
It's all on film.
Yeah, it's on film. They slant the light.
And what's cool about
so like the shadows against like the pure white scenery everywhere just like cast such a.
There's a really cool movie called The American Astronaut that they had to have shot it on film, but it's black and white, and it's like I've told you about it, Eric. It's like a space western, but it's really low budget. And what's cool about like low budget film stuff when it comes to noir is you can tell so much you can like eliminate so much storytelling just by most of the screen being dark.
Right.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Totally. Yeah.
And like you don't need a lot of fancy set pieces to sort of like project a world onto something. Like most of outer space is dark anyway. And so it's like kind of a fascinating take on it to just have this like one area that's lit, you know.
Totally. Yeah. It could be used to add to the theme of the work. When did that movie come out, Caitlin?
It's like 2014, something like that. Yeah, it's like the guy, I forget who exactly, but yeah, it's on Amazon Prime if anyone wants to check it out. The American Astronaut is the name of it, and it's like a musical, of course, and it's got like
it is?
Yeah, it's got like really cool punk rock soundtrack, so it's amazing. It's one of the coolest movies I've seen in the last few years.
You said the name a couple times, and I went to Google it, and I started typing in the American Space Cowboy, which is like a forgotten Kid Rock song, probably.
Space Cowboy is an NSYNC song off their No Strings Attached.
That's right.
Oh, shit. He knows his stuff.
That is like the first musical fact check that I can do on this episode so far.
All right, let's get to another one. We got a few more, so we'll.
Hi, Anthony. I was wanting to know if you could be a fly on the wall of any music recording, past or present, which one would it be?
Some wonderful questions. You got some insightful listeners.
They're your fans.
Oh, sure.
You got insightful fans.
Well, you know. I'm sure this is going to be no shock to anybody who has paid 1 second of attention to me ever, but any Prince recording, literally any Prince recording, at any stage of his career, would fascinate me to no end. Obviously, he was such a versatile and expansive musician and songwriter that I would just die to witness a second of that. Also, like, there are these artists and records where I just don't know. Like, I don't know how Kraftwerk thought to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I would love to have been there. I don't know how, Black Sabbath thought to make that first record and to make music that sounded like that. So those sort of things, those seeds that have been planted, I would love to sort of witness in any of that. I mean, I would love to have seen Aretha Franklin sing do a vocal take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I could go on forever with this, but early synth pop and electronica, when it was really analog, is something that I think about all of the time. How OMD and Depeche Mode and Gary Newman, how those bands were able to play that stuff and make it sound great. Human League, oh my God.
Oh yeah. That would probably be the freaking
Coil.
Oh,
I would like, what was that like? It's like, you guys don't, like a band and anything from that world, like Coil and Current 93 and Nurse with Wound. Like, none of those people play instruments, yet they make amazing music.
Right.
How does that work?
Do you like the later Talk albums, like the more experimental?
I do.
I've heard of crazy stories behind the scenes of how weird those recording sessions were, or like the writing sessions where they would turn all the lights off in the studio, but like they'd keep like certain like lava lamps and weird things. Like they purposely would try to create like a headspace in the studio and like a certain vibe. And those songs, I mean, the departure is so insane on those last two albums.
Mhm.
I would love to have seen like what that was like when they first kind of noodled around and they're like, we're gonna like immediately shift into this insane new territory.
Yeah. Anything anything kind of in that realm,
Yeah.
you know, a big shift, or you know, the inception of a new sort of subset, you know, would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Kaylin, do you have your response? Do you have a one
What
that
I
you
would-
thought about, like where you're like, oh, I wish I'd could have.
I always have the same answer. It's Johnny Cash. I just want to watch him for creepy personal reasons.
I like
It would probably be super
Agreed.
boring. It's all just like GC and D. Like,
what's the Walk the Line, right? That's the one with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese.
oh, the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I love those, especially in like that era, like the 2000 aughts when they were doing all those music biopics. What song was it that they first showed him recording? I forget, but I always laugh because like they show the scene where Joaquin Phoenix like looks over at his guitar player like, and his guitar player plays like the infamous lead, and he's looking back at Joaquin Phoenix like, I don't know either, and I'm like, I have a hard time believing that this is what happened. They like look
Yeah,
like
it's
they're
like
like
a clear, like not a jammed riff. It's like clearly written and
like
perfectly placed. Like
so good.
Well, so Johnny Cash has this autobiography called it's just called Cash, but
Cash by Johnny Cash.
yeah, but my favorite line from it, this is probably not a direct quote, but he's like, one of my biggest regrets is I probably should have learned more chords. It's like
incredible.
And then I've also seen like from some magazine there's like, or museum of scraps of his notes and stuff. It had like a to-do list, and like he would always put like practice piano on it, but he never got good at piano. And like I just relate so much to that. Like he just was not like, he was so much an example of someone who it was about like the soul that came through like in his voice when he would sing songs more than like the technicality of his music.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that would be fun to watch him. I think it would be fun to watch him interact with people because he just seemed like a charming person.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback the Prince as well. Obviously he's known as like a monster, of course, songwriter and guitarist, but I would love to have would really love to see just him noodling on his keyboards and behind the production, you know, panel. Like I would love to see what it was like for him when he was just getting into like that, you know, the zone.
Yeah, I really want to see him produce and sort of lead a studio session.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky enough to see Prince 14 times.
Holy shit.
And most, you know, he unreal guitar player, played keys for a few songs. A few times he would like do a bass break. One of the best bassists on planet Earth at that time. But his final tour, it was just him and a piano, and I never heard him play so much piano. And I know it's his first instrument, but an otherworldly pianist. It was unreal. But yeah, to see him play like the drums and like coaching backup singers, like that's what you know
and meanwhile, Johnny Cash, like you watch his specials and his guitar isn't plugged in, and he's like just having a great time.
I saw Prince at Coachella 2008. He was like a surprise. They announced it the week of, and it still cracks me up because that lineup that night on the main stage was Kraftwerk and the Portishead, who had just released Third that week. And phenomenal album, by the way. And then Prince, and it was just like the weirdest, like, which I love. I love like a diverse kind of lineup like that.
All three of those acts are 10 out of 10.
100%. And Portishead at that show, it was like one of the most like, it was very intense. Like it was like witnessing a woman on the verge of like a mental breakdown, like the way that she gave herself into the songs, especially since the newer ones were so like dark for the time, you know. And then immediately it goes into fucking the time comes out to warm up for Prince. It was like the juxtaposition was just too sweet.
So good.
Yeah.
So killer. Yeah, that we were recording. Ceremony was recording "Still Nothing Moves You" the exact time of that Coachella, and that's like one of my biggest regrets is not pressing pause
Yeah.
for an evening and trying to sneak into the desert. But hey,
it was a good one. Roger Waters did Dark Side of the Moon the following night, and I loved it. I don't care what anyone says, man. It was a 10 out of 10 experience watching Roger Waters.
If anyone disses Pink Floyd, I don't understand that.
I agree. I love him. Okay, we got one more. Technically, two. We got a couple of written questions as well, but this guy, he sent in two technically. So be aware.
Yo, Anthony, what's up, man?
Okay.
This is Michael. Just wanted to say, big fan of Ceremony. Love you very much. Thank you for writing some of my favorite songs to date. I'm 26, so yeah, of pretty much my lifetime. But I wanted to ask like 2 or 3 questions. 1, what's your favorite track off of Zoo? 2, I've recently gotten sober, and I'm trying to eat a lot better foods. And what would you suggest, like, to, I guess, zest up broccoli as opposed to just cooking it with olive oil on the stove? And 3, do you like the Spice album? If so, what's your favorite track off that? Anyways, love you, man. Have a good night, and you fuck.
I'll shout out Spice. Bunch of local faves in that one as well.
First of all, what a sweetheart.
Thanks, Michael.
Congratulations, Michael, on your recent sobriety. I would have to imagine that journey is not easy, so I applaud you. To go sort of out of order, a trick that I use that I think you could apply to your broccoli recipe, that I use for my lasagna sauce recipe, is to kind of make a homemade garlic oil by using a quarter cup of olive oil and about 8 cloves of garlic on the lowest heat. Start everything at the same time. A lot of dishes you would obviously heat the oil first and throw in onions and garlic and cook for a few minutes. This room temperature olive oil and about 8 cloves of garlic all at the same time at the lowest simmer, and constantly stirring for 30 minutes.
Oh wow, okay.
It'll definitely boost up any recipe, and then you could sort of take 2 tablespoons of that and then add it to some roasted broccoli or what have you. I use lemon in many vegetable dishes, but lemon, salt, pepper, garlic. Find your favorite combination of that, my friend. You're off. You are in a new world.
Hell yeah.
I have heard the Spice album. Cody, I guess we'll go. Cody, who sort of is the brains behind Spice, is one of my oldest friends in the world. We met. He was, funny story, I worked at the rec center in Roanoke Park.
Oh shit.
And I was in 8th grade. No, sorry. That can't be true. I was a freshman in high school. That's right. And I started working at the rec center, and everyone else who worked at the rec center were either seniors or 1 or 2 years graduated. And they all played music. So I started playing in like just a rock band with them. And they played in another band where Cody's brother was the bassist. Cody's brother left the band and Cody joined them. They weren't punk or hardcore at all. I feel like Cody just kind of did it as a favor. And so I knew him through this like weird, obscure group of like work and music friends. And we were like, wait, you like the Nerve Agents? Wait, and you like AFI? So we bonded. We met in these really random circumstances. And then he kind of got folded into the friend group that I had in high school, which was all the Lifelong Tragedy and Now Ceremony
Oh yeah.
people. So anything that Cody will ever do, I will pay attention to. He is a silent genius. Obviously, Spice and Ceremony share a vocalist. Ross literally is my oldest friend. I've known him since the 5th grade. And so him also, I will check out anything that he puts out. I'm apologize to my dear friends in Spice for I don't know the song titles, but I don't know most of our own song titles. So please forgive me, but it is a great record.
It's
and
really good.
My favorite song off Zoo, Ceremony's 2012 release, is probably Video, which is the last song on the album. It was the first time we tried something so like really something so I guess minimal and spacious without it being in like an interlude or without it being instrumental. So I feel like that song really pushed us, pushed our abilities. And Hotel is another song on that record that I really love. Cool question, because I feel like that album is, I feel like kind of like the forgotten record of ours. It's kind of sandwiched between Roner Park, is I suppose a beloved album amongst our listeners.
Classic listeners at home. If you don't already know that, which you all do, he's being very humble. We all know it's a classic.
And the album after that, L-Shaped Man, was so much of a departure and polarizing that it gets, this other sort of attention. And Zoo, but I really dig that. I really dig that album. We played World Blue at this Thrasher party about a month ago. It was the first time we played that, probably close to 10 years, and it was really fun.
That's awesome. Usually I'll say this for the very end. I'm just gonna say your guys' career span is just incredible, or whatever you would call it, and been there since the beginning, buddy, because I was there at one of the very first shows when you guys played the Lobby at the Phoenix. And
wow.
Yeah. So I can
thank you for your continued support, Eric Wynn.
Lifelong Tragedy, just hearing that aged me. I have not thought about that band forever, but incredible band. Oh, they were so good at the time.
And the story of Eric's life.
Yeah. Yeah. Just me and my broccoli. All right, we got this gentleman. He had one more.
Good luck with the broccoli, Michael.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, Anthony,
oh, it's still Michael.
I forgot to ask the most important question. The Dirty Mind album that you recorded, I love it. It's really good and emotionally touching. But I wanted to ask if there was any particular reason why you chose to, as you are a huge Prince fan, from what I've noticed at least, like why you chose to re-record that album, or not re-record it, but, add your own touches to it. Were there any personal experiences that you derived, that made you feel like, oh, this is the one that I want to record because it's personal to you? Or is it just like, yo, that album fucks and I'm going to do this? Anyways, again, I hope you're doing well, and see you on tour with Turnstile. Peace.
Hello again, Michael. I also hope you're doing well. Very good question. There are many reasons why that was the album I decided to pay tribute to and cover. One of them, which is not the sexiest answer, was that it was the 40th anniversary. Came out in 2020, and Prince's version came out in 1980, and I am a fan of symmetry. So it just seemed to make sense. Also, why I decided to do that at all was because, in 2020, I found myself having a lot of free time on my hands. So I thought that doing something like that I've never done would have been fulfilling, and it was. But that why specifically that Prince album? It is a very cohesive record. Um, you know, Purple Rain. If all of the records from the '80s are quite diverse, and they really show his full range, and so does Dirty Mind. But Dirty Mind always felt like he used the same drum kit, the
Yeah.
same guitar amps, the same vocal range, the same delivery kind of for every song. It was a very, concise, cohesive body of work. So because of that, I didn't feel like I had to sort of like start every song from scratch on because I'm not nearly the singer that he is, and I'm not nearly the I recorded that record mostly myself, nearly the producer that he is, and nearly anything. I am nothing that he is, but so I just felt like that one would have been a record that I was able to sort of get a handle on, because the instrumentation was a little bit more simple and a little bit more direct, and because there's not so many different styles of music like all of the other Prince records, I wouldn't have had to sort of go song by song figuring out how I was going to make them my own, where I was able to sort of look at the whole record as one piece.
Gotcha. What?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, because now it's kind of on my mind, the synthetic remix album you did of Here in the Spirit World, was that done? Was that like something because of the downtime of, we'll call it like 2020, 2021, or was that kind of like demos you were already sitting on?
No. So we did we were lucky enough to be on the cover of, I believe it was New Noise.
Oh.
And they wanted to release that edition of the magazine with a limited edition ceremony flexi, with if asking if we had any B-sides, and we didn't. This was the first In the Spirit World Now was the first record that we had done since Violence where there were no additional songs.
Oh, it was exactly that set, you mean?
Every song that we recorded for that record is on the album. Where Zoo, there was like two songs that were used for B-sides, and a couple covers. Roner Park, same. El Shay Man, same. And then so we didn't have any extras. So I thought it would be cool, because the record itself was so synth heavy, to do a fully synth version of Turn Away the Bad Thing.
Right.
So I had already did one, and once the pandemic hit, I thought about it more, and I asked Relapse, our record label, if they would be into putting out a record of me remixing the album. They were kind enough to say yes, and we went forward. And the interesting thing about that release is like half the songs don't veer away from the originals really at all, and half the songs are completely different in their feel. And that was because the songs that are similar is because that's how I always heard those songs in my head.
Oh, no shit. Okay, interesting.
To me, like Years of Love, for example, or like the title track, those songs to me sound like they're supposed to be full synth tracks, and we made them be full band tracks for the record because we are a full band.
Right.
But so I wanted to hear what they would sound like, how I initially envisioned them in my head when we started working on the songs. And then the songs that I feel like are perfect as is, I felt like I couldn't make them better, so I just had to try and make them, do a more a proper remix.
Gotcha. Okay. That From Another Age, that one in particular, man, the synths, the drums on it I get pissed off when I listen to it because it's so good. Like, it's one of those things, you know, when you listen to something that's so good and you're just like, you're just mad because you're just like,
Yeah.
it's too fucking good. Like that. Oh, that one
Thank
definitely
you.
is a
That's
standout.
that's also that's my favorite.
Oh, no, I can see why. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Thank you.
We're getting a little close to that hour mark. So before we get into some games and goodbyes, we're gonna a couple of the written ones. We'll just kind of do this rapid fire here.
Do you think Michael goes to family function and he's like, "This broccoli fucks, man"?
Yeah, dude, Michael rules.
Michael
mean,
Love you,
fucks.
Michael.
Michael fucks.
He fucks for sure. Okay, what? This is rapid fire, so feel free just to answer and as rapidly as you desire. What bands or music inspired your newer music? P.S. I love the new ceremony.
Thank you. Kraftwerk, Coil, Noi,
Nice.
Devo. I'm sure no shock to anyone. Two-Way Army, Wire.
Yeah,
I could go. Trance by Neil Young.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get gum out of hair?
I've always heard that it's peanut butter, but I must admit that I don't have any firsthand. I've never had gum in my hair.
You're not living.
I'm not. I suppose so. I suppose so. I don't know how people are getting this gum in their hair. Maybe they have. Maybe they have enemies.
Oh, absolutely.
If you, let me just say this: if the gum is being put in your hair not from your enemy, from your own doing, let's reevaluate and restructure that question.
Yeah, how to get the bully gum out of your life.
Yeah, well, how to get the bully gum out of your life, and how to know how to chew gum.
Oh,
True. I'm just imagining someone on like a roller coaster being the only scenario that's like,
I have to go on this roller coaster, but I can't spit it out before. I can't do it.
or like a really drunk person. I could see that happening too.
In which case, I would say stop drinking.
Any plans on releasing new ex-youth music?
Plans? I don't know. I have a number of songs. It's tough since I moved to Los Angeles. Ex-Youth is a band where I wouldn't want to do without that core group of people with Tobiah and Val. And not being with them makes it tricky, and Tobiah is a working professional and plays in a lot of other bands now, great bands, Shit Coffins, and but yeah, so I don't know. Oh, maybe.
I know Rich.
Tobiah's in Shit Coffins, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
I know Rich G through a mutual friend. I don't know. Like, I'm an acquaintance. I've met him like a handful of times, and I went over to his apartment one time, and he is just a very tall, deep-voiced man. And and this was like years ago, and I felt like a boy. I felt like I was visiting like my dad, like on the weekend or something. It was.
Yeah,
I felt so like
dad vibes.
Yeah, I felt so just like hi. I was like sitting on his couch. It was.
You had gum in your hair, just like instantly.
My shoelaces were untied. Oh gosh, forgot to grab my phone on the next one. Someone wanted to know. I wonder if a lot of people know that you're a cook or something, because someone wants to know what's your favorite pasta dish to make. Is this something that do you advertise that you like make?
I think because my last name ends in a vowel, people assume that I cook, which I do. So
how do you make the broccoli?
Yeah. I make a mean lasagna, and I make a mean pomodoro.
Yeah, shit. Just even saying the word is impressive.
Yeah, makes you hungry. Yeah.
Who were your biggest musical influences in the beginning of your band's career?
The interesting thing about, I assume they're talking about Ceremony. The interesting thing about us is that there was never a band that we all loved and was like our favorite band.
Right.
You know, there are bands that we all there are certain bands that we all dig. You know, we all, I mean, who doesn't love Minor Threat? You know,
Right.
But just for as an example, so it was interesting. Like, you know, we got I know this doesn't directly answer the question, but we got the Infest comparison a lot in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Infest, I dig them, but like I never like, they're not near my like all-time top hardcore punk bands. So I thought that was always like kind of fun and interesting. But for me, I was a big Negative Approach person. I know Ross was too. The Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, but we just wanted to sort of do that thing, but like this is sort of in hindsight, or not. I guess now I'm able to recognize it as like something that we were doing subconsciously, but we were approaching writing music the way that I feel like the first generation hardcore bands were, but they were like referencing, you know, like the rock or guitar based music of that time. Like, let's do that, but shorter songs and faster songs. And we were doing that, but with the Circle Jerks and the Dead Kennedys. So instead of, you know, one verse and one chorus, you know, like 2 verse 2 chorus, how about 1 verse and 1 chorus?
Yeah,
you know,
18
and
seconds of goodness.
Yeah, and we just kind of didn't have, you know, and just I think more than any bands, because we were never like, we want to sound like this. We were never referencing bands when we were making songs. It was really just a reflection of the kind of people that we were. We were, you know, four teenagers with attention spans that were not so grand, upset that we were living in the suburbs. And I think that's what our early music sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to close the bag on the rapidly answered questions section of the show, and we are going to now play.
No more. Oh, okay.
We're
I love a game.
We're gonna do a game. We're gonna do 2 things that we always do with our guests. The first one is that we're gonna play the classic childhood game MASH. Did you ever play MASH when you were a kid? Do you know what it is?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Mary. Right?
No, mansion, apartment, shack,
mansion.
But it is like you do. You do get things.
Yes,
like
I do remember. I
Okay.
needed. I live in the future.
Yeah.
You know, I try to not. I don't know if you could tell by how I answered that last question. I really try and go.
Marriage, arson,
Yeah.
Sodomy, or house hunting.
Yes. I
Tombstone placement, will.
So that house hunting will probably never happen. But
so actually, that's how I phrase these, because most of us are of a certain age. So I always say most of these are for like retirement. Like, where do you want to retire?
Yes.
So the first one is going to be 2 dream places that you would retire to, and like a nightmare place.
Okay. Palm Springs, and I assume these have to be places that, like, I can't choose Los Angeles.
You can choose whatever you want.
Can,
it's your game.
yeah.
It's your life.
So
Fantasy.
Los Angeles.
Okay.
Specifically, we'll say Angelino Heights and Palm Springs.
And then the worst place.
Nightmare place would be, man, I really don't want to upset. I have a place, but I really.
The YouTube comments, people, they're foaming, waiting to know, because they're like, don't fucking say my place.
I I really would prefer to not live in Germany.
Fair enough. Oh no, Hans! No, don't leave the YouTube chat. All right, 2 dream jobs that you would kind of go out on, and like the worst one.
Well, I suppose musician, artist,
Yeah.
however you want to categorize that, and everything that embodies. There are a lot of things that I would love to do. There are a lot of things that I wish I could do.
Italian chef.
Yeah, run an Italian restaurant. I would love to be an architect.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to make things, and I guess nightmare job, probably like, I don't know, like VP at Tesla. You know what I mean? Like some really crappy, like modern, like rise and grind culture, like bullshit.
Human resources at Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 of your favorite colors and 1 of your least favorite colors.
Purple and black faves. Not a green guy.
All right. Ooh. One of co-host Caitlin's favorite.
Oh, no.
2 dream vehicles or mode of transportation and 1 bad one.
The Batmobile from the Adam West Batman series and movie. Say the motorcycle from the Purple Rain album cover.
Yeah.
I don't care about cars, so that, like, they'd have to be, and then I don't know, like, I don't really have a use for an 18-wheeler.
Okay.
That seems like it'd be inconvenient, or like a tractor.
Very.
Which seems like it'd be inconvenient. So.
Very diplomatic. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Your crushes. These are potential people that you could go as celebrity, real people, however you choose. But 2 people that you.
Celebrities are real people.
Yeah. First I heard.
Well, not always. Actually, not always. I retract. Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So, I mean, look. Heather Bailey, my wonderful, talented, and beautiful life partner and wife, is 1 through 100.
That's your nightmare one, or what are we saying?
No, she wishes. But I feel like like if we're gonna throw in Heather in there.
All right.
Because I threw in LA, if we could have, if some of these are things that we could already be, living, then we're gonna throw my current wife in there. So JLD and HB, yeah, my first wife, Heather. I like calling her my ex-girlfriend too. It's just literally true.
Yeah.
She literally is my first wife. And my nightmare person, oh man.
Horse just entered the chat.
Who is what's their name? Her last name is Green. She's a politician. She's like a Q politician.
yes.
Marjorie?
Yes.
Is that
Eric?
Yeah.
Marjorie.
Yes, Marjorie
Yes.
Green. Yes, that is correct.
Are you texting her right now just to tell her that we're talking shit?
Baby, don't listen tonight.
You're like on the Q subreddit.
No, my friends are what? No. Okay, the next one. Oh, shout out, by the way. Shout out to your wife, Heather. I have friends who have literally traveled from like across the country to get tattooed by her. Her work is exceptional. It truly is like some of the best tattoo work I've ever seen.
I agree.
This is the random one. We'll go to the next one. Okay, I need 3 different numbers.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, 2 dream animals that you would have with you in Los Angeles or wherever that you
Animals that fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
And then 1 bad one.
Feline.
All right.
And can I just like another kind of cat? Can I just say like a Maine Coon and
Yeah.
calico could be my 2, and then a nightmare animal, I mean, like a hawk.
Oh no, another one of co-host Caitlin's favorite.
I mean,
On blast.
I just thought the practicality.
They're difficult to maintain.
I feel like I'd be in danger.
Your cats would be.
Yes, certainly so.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to draw a spiral, and you tell me when to stop.
Okay. How long should I make him go?
As long as
My finger was bleeding for the listener at home. All right.
Yeah.
We have a pencil that actually crosses off the things, as you can see, for the YouTubers at home and for Anthony.
Oh, wow.
But we'll skip ahead.
Automated.
Okay. Once you graduate, I always forget that it says you're in school. Once you graduate, you'll find work in Germany. Oh, no! In Germany as the VP of Tesla. You'll get around town in your green Adam West era Batmobile. Hey, you'll marry your wife again.
That's it.
And you'll live in a mansion with 3 kids and your ever loyal pet Maine Coon cat.
Okay. Can I just have the Maine Coon and Heather and because you really drew me. I mean, hey, nothing really matters. So
I mean, you're considering you're already living like at least a good quarter of your dream life. I say,
yeah, it's like,
so bad.
and even if I weren't, it's like, look, we're all gonna be dead, and nothing that we ever said or did or thought will have mattered. So who cares?
I like it. All right.
That's inspiring.
All right. We got, I just got an ad that had spaghetti in it. I feel like they knew. Okay.
Yeah.
This is, we always end our shows, Mr. Anthony, with a personality quiz. We scour the depths of the internet to find the best that there are out there. This one's no different. We're actually going to a different source tonight, some place called Brainfall. We're going to find out which kind of action hero you are. Are you ready, sir?
I suppose so.
This is the only time we'll ever find this out in our life. So
Yeah.
here we go. Which addiction are you most likely to suffer from? Steroids, I must have them. Cocaine, Ritalin, weight loss pills, or painkillers?
Man, as really none of them. As a very straight edge boy,
Yeah.
I really object. I guess I don't know. I guess sometimes you need a painkiller if you're gonna get a surgery or a thing.
All
So
right.
I guess, but I would really prefer to plead the fifth on that one.
Fair enough. I'll see if I can plead the fifth for you. If you're just joining
Okay.
us, Vicodin addict Anthony on the show. You're at a bar and someone tries to. My 2 cats are fighting. Hey. Okay.
Aw.
Sorry. It was like that, like serious kind of like.
Yeah, it's like someone's serious right now.
Raja, stop. All right. Sorry. You're at a bar.
Raja.
Yeah.
I'm
Raja.
sorry. Every day I find out you have a new pet.
You're at a bar and someone tries to pick a fight with you. He's a lot taller than you. Oh boy. You laugh, then proceed to pulverize him. You
What
keep
kind
your
of bobo civilians are these tests for? Bar
well the
fights?
we actually
Which fucking cocaine? God.
As Caitlin and I
so
always discuss, how old are the people that are creating these? Is the better
Yeah,
question.
it's usually 14-year-olds that are projecting what they imagine adult life to be like based on
totally.
television.
Okay. I'll play along. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, think about like that young 14. Like, you laugh, then proceed to pulverize him. You keep your cool and beat him when he least expects it. Who cares his size? It's the passion and heart that wins a fight. He may be taller, but you're way stronger. Or you might look small, but you've got inner strength. A lot of those are feeling very short for similar.
Funny for those last two are just the same, just with different words.
Exactly.
I suppose. Can you say them again? Just
Okay,
just
so
rattle
one's
them
like
off.
you kind of like laugh, you mock him, and then fight him. One is you keep your cool and then you fight him. One is about like passion and heart. One is about
We'll go laughing at him.
Perfect.
We'll
okay.
go laughing at him. Just
All right.
why not? He's stupid.
Oh no, this
He deserves to feel bad.
This test is not made for you, sir. But we're gonna power through. What type of drunk are you? Oh, actually, never mind. First one, drinking is a waste.
Number one. Don't even want to hear the rest.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think that's the only one. The rest are not tailor made. What is your greatest attribute? My creativity, my array of talents, my perseverance, my fairness, or my brute strength?
Obviously, brute strength.
Hell yeah.
All 140 pounds of me.
Hey, it's the inner strength, right? As
Yeah.
we learned on this journey. If you don't want to enrage me, then you better not mess with my friends, country, ego, teammates, or life. Mess with my life.
Life? All those things are in your life. God, these 14-year-olds are fucking idiots. My country, totally.
My country,
Totally.
tis of thee.
Do not mess with my country. This country is mine. It's mine. I have this country. You got to go through me.
Wait a minute there, Slick. What are you doing to my country over there?
Yeah. You know that's mine, right? Person.
What is your immediate professional goal? Oh, wow. A government internship, to inspire the younger generation, to finish college, to find an exciting career, or to work at the local powerhouse gym?
Obviously 5.
I'm going to, Caitlin, I'm going to venture to guess that this is like a freshman in college, like the Ritalin and like internships, all that. I think this is a guy who is like not doing his finals studies.
Yeah.
The best way to get the ladies' attention is to show my intelligence, get beat up until they take pity, cop a feel, act cool and mysterious, or shave all my body hair.
Okay. So anybody I was kidding for those last few answers. But now it's serious time. Okay? So listeners, take note. Get beat up really bad until the girl feels bad for you. It's totally going to work. It works every time. Get beat up. Trust me.
Women love weak, injured men.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not that far off from what a lot of my. Never mind.
Hopefully they blind you, because then really you're home. I was about to say you're home safe, but I don't think that applies.
Hey, I saw that Val Kilmer Bly movie. He was fucking in that movie. I don't remember what that movie's called. How ambitious are you? Oh my gosh, a cat has entered. For the listener at home, a full-on cat just took over Caitlin's screen. How ambitious are you? I won't let anything stop me from getting to the top. I want to be sure everyone remembers me. I just do my personal best and let success follow. Pretty women and recognition does it for me. I'm already on top. Who needs ambition?
Anything to get on top. Screw over every person that you know, no matter what. Your family, your friends, your loved ones, yourself. your dad, your cat, your hawk. Screw them all. Be on top.
Fuck yeah. Especially all of those.
Especially, yeah.
What kind of a vehicle would you like to drive? Something we only got 2 more, so you just suffer a little bit longer, sir. What kind of vehicle would you like to drive? Something custom made to suit my personality. Oh, like a Batmobile. An old Jeep with a roll cage. Something quick, expensive, and borrowed. Anything better than what my friends have. Or the biggest thing I can find. Scratch that, make it 2.
Anything better than my friends have. Above, do better than everybody. Be better than everybody. Compare yourself to everybody, and just be the best all the time. Competition is what makes the world go round.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Motivational speaker
Capitalism.
Tony Robbins joining us.
Yeah.
Alpha male over here.
Yeah. Alpha male. Anthony Anzaldo, the thing that everybody says all the time.
Where would you like, this is the final question, where would you go to get away from it all? Chilling in my beach house surrounded by beautiful people, trekking through the outback and surviving off the wilderness, somewhere far away where I couldn't even think about work, for a relaxing visit to the countryside, or my work seems to follow me no matter where I go.
The outback is, you're not going to be able to survive off anything in the outback wilderness, people. So no, but if you're taking this quiz, or if that's an aspiration for you, don't pick that one. That's a losing battle. I guess I'll hang on the countryside.
All right.
Nice little townhome, looking over some hills, Vermont maybe.
Made some Italian food.
Yeah.
All right. We are plugging it in right now.
Boop.
Oh no, it's one of those ones where you have to like click through a bunch of things about.
To,
These are
you have to,
all
like, buy something. You have to like enter your credit card.
they are all questions about Jack in the Box.
Oh my god. We went to the wrong place.
We did.
Tonight, team.
I apologize for the listener at home.
I think I need to be the quiz selector again now that I'm settled in my new country.
Your computer has malware now.
All right. After processing the data, oh my goodness, sir, you are Arnold Schwarzenegger. According to this, you're a legend. You've killed more bad guys than people can count. You've had a baby, and you said more one-liners than anyone. You're loud and built. It's just too bad that Dane DeVito is your twin. Hey. Cool. I like Dane DeVito's
Damn.
What year was this written?
It was like an early aughts.
It's from
the
the
website
future.
is like
Okay.
falling apart on me. There's so many ads like built on each other. It's one of those kinds of websites where it's just like crumbling.
Yeah, you have to throw away your computer now.
Well, speaking of throwing
already
away
going to.
computers, my computer is giving me several warnings that it's about to shut off.
Well, this is perfect timing because it is actually the end of the show. So without further ado, Anthony, I can't thank you enough, sir, for being willing to come on, play our games, answer all these crazy questions. Is there anything you'd like to plug, anything you want to shout out, point the people towards? We got that homesick coming up.
Just thank you for having me. Homesick is January 28th in Pomona, January 29th in Berkeley, UC Theater, and the Glass House in reverse order. And thank you for having me. Very nice to more formally meet the both of you. It's been a joy.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, sir. As I always say, thank you to our YouTube listeners. Once again, Anthony, thank you. Caitlin, as always, thank you for being the co-host with the Mohos. I'm going to say goodnight to y'all.
Thank you. All right. Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
guys.
team.
Record.